The overhead bin slammed shut with a metallic thud as flight attendant Amanda Fletcher snatched the worn leather carry-on from the hands of a young black woman. "Ma'am, for the third time this bag doesn't meet our regulations," she snapped, her manicured nails digging into the bag's smooth surface while passengers twisted in their seats to watch. Dr. Brielle Thompson stood frozen in the aisle, a laminated badge from the National Cardiology Conference glinting under the cabin's harsh lights. "That belonged to my grandmother," she said quietly. But Amanda was already marching down the aisle toward the front galley, the bag swinging at her side. The cockpit door opened suddenly, the kind of opening that sucked the noise out of a room. A figure filled the frame, 6 feet 4 inches, his presence enough to mute the buzz of boarding. Silver wings shimmered against the shoulders of his uniform. His eyes, deep brown and steady, locked on Amanda. The bag slipped from her grip. 14 hours earlier, the sun had painted the St. Louis skyline in watery gold. In a cozy brick home tucked just west of Forest Park, Brielle zipped the vintage leather carry-on closed, fingers lingering on its brass clasp. The bag had traveled with her grandmother through her nursing days in Dakar, Germany, and rural Georgia. Every scuff on its hide told a story. Every stitch held memory. "You sure you've got everything, sunshine?" came a voice from the kitchen, warm and low. Colonel Samuel Thompson had retired from the Navy SEALs a decade earlier, but his bearing hadn't relaxed a bit. He flipped blueberry pancakes with military precision, the kind of ritual they'd shared before every flight since she was 12. "Triple check, Dad." Brielle smiled, adjusting the strap. At 32, she was a top cardiothoracic surgeon with a growing reputation and a groundbreaking paper she'd be presenting at Massachusetts General. Her father stepped into the room, plate in one hand, that same quiet strength in every movement. Retirement hadn't slowed him down. These days, he captained commercial flights for a major airline and was en route to London that afternoon. "She'd be proud of you, kid," he said softly, setting the plate down. Her mother, Layla, had passed 3 years earlier, but her presence still lingered in family photos lining the hallway. Layla in surgical scrubs, Samuel in his dress whites, Brielle at graduation, in cap and gown and a lab coat. Remember what she used to say about pressure? Brielle didn't miss a beat. Grace makes diamonds out of coal. They grinned at each other, a private joke laced with history. The air bit with early November chill as Samuel loaded her suitcase into the trunk of his SUV. He insisted on driving her to the airport, as he always had. "Your grandmother took that bag across 3 continents," he said as they rolled onto I-70. "Wore it like armor. She'd never let anyone tell her it was too beat up to fly," Brielle murmured. At Lambert International, they hugged tightly before parting ways. Samuel was headed for Terminal 2 and a long-haul flight to Heathrow. Brielle walked into Terminal 1, the bag slung across her shoulder like a piece of her family's legacy. As she stepped through TSA, she noticed people still stepped aside when her father passed even out of uniform. Not from fear, but out of instinctive respect. At Gate C-19, Brielle found a seat near the window and set the leather bag at her feet. She pulled out her laptop and went over her slides one more time. Pediatric arrhythmias, detection before birth. Her name glowed at the bottom of the title screen. A soft voice beside her broke the concentration. "Blue pills in the morning, white ones at night," an elderly woman instructed her husband. "Yes, dear," he replied, chuckling. Brielle smiled. The rhythm of their exchange soothed her nerves. When they called first-class passengers to board, she rose with her things. Amanda Fletcher stood at the entrance to the jet bridge, her hair in a tight bun, her uniform impeccable, her eyes scanning every passenger with the precision of a customs officer. "Boarding pass?" she asked, not unpleasantly, but without warmth. Brielle handed it over. Amanda's gaze swept from Brielle's pressed suit to her vintage carry-on. "First class," Amanda noted, voice flattening. "Yes, seat 2A," Brielle answered. Once on board, Brielle placed her slim laptop bag in the overhead bin and held the leather carry-on carefully. Amanda appeared at her elbow. "Ma'am, that bag needs to go up. It fits under the seat. I always travel with it." Amanda reached out. Let me check it. It's within regulation size. I'll be the judge of that, Amanda said, already pulling at it. Passengers were stacking behind them now, forced to wait as the standoff intensified. Amanda tugged harder. It's sentimental. Please. I'll handle it. Amanda snapped, wresting the bag from Brielle's hands and turning on her heel. A male attendant with a badge reading John approached. Everything okay here? Carry on violation, Amanda said over her shoulder. It'll be gate checked. Brielle slid into her seat, pulse rising, fury coiled under her skin. From across the aisle, the elderly woman leaned over. That was your grandmother's bag, wasn't it? Brielle blinked. Yes. How did you? We were behind you at security. Your father has that presence about him. Navy. SEAL. Retired. Now he flies commercial. I thought so. My herald was Army. Korean War. They never quite lose the posture, do they? Brielle smiled. Amanda returned 10 minutes later without the bag. I'm afraid it's being processed for gate check. Brielle sat up straighter. Where is it? In the galley. You'll get a claim ticket. I'd like to speak with the captain. Amanda blinked. The captain is occupied. I'd like to speak to him anyway. Amanda turned on her heel and vanished toward the cockpit. For 20 long minutes, Brielle stared at the seat back ahead, anger simmering under the calm. Then the cockpit door flew open. The man who stepped out didn't walk a strode. And with every step, silence spread. Captain Samuel Thompson's frame filled the aisle. He made his way down to the galley where Amanda was now fumbling with paperwork. He stopped. Amanda. She turned, startled. The clipboard clattered to the counter. Her face went pale. Captain Thompson, I understand there's been a problem with the passenger's carry-on. She stammered. It appeared oversized, sir. I followed protocol. Is this the bag? He lifted the worn leather from the counter. Amanda nodded. That passenger is my daughter. That bag belonged to my mother. John made a sound halfway between a gasp and a groan. Would you like to measure again? Samuel asked, voice smooth as jet engines. Or can we agree it's within standard dimensions? Amanda's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Finally, she whispered, I believe we can agree. Samuel turned on his heel and walked down the aisle, pausing at row 2. Dr. Thompson. Brielle looked up. I believe this belongs to you. She took it with reverence. Thank you, Captain. Passengers, Samuel said to the cabin, his voice now booming through the speakers. We apologize for the delay. Weather looks great en route to Boston. We'll do our best to make up the time. He turned to a young black girl in seat 5D. First flight? He asked. The girl nodded. You're in good hands, he said with a wink. Then he faced Amanda one last time. Please ensure all passengers are cared for. Amanda nodded, face flushed, lips tight. Back in her seat, Brielle exhaled slowly. The elderly woman touched her hand. That man's not just a pilot, she said. That's a father. Brielle smiled. Yes. Yes, he is. The plane pushed back from the gate and began taxiing. John returned minutes later with a bottle of water. Compliments of the captain, he said. Brielle took it, eyes misty. And the rest of the flight? It went by in a blur of kindnesses. Amanda returned later with a quiet apology. She didn't explain. She didn't make excuses. She simply said, I was wrong. Thank you for your grace. Brielle nodded. Let's just have a good flight. Later, after landing in Boston and stepping off the jet bridge, Brielle's phone buzzed with a message. Dad just took off. Uncle Ray says knock, I'm dead. Also, Amanda wants to learn more about bias training. She asked to see more family photos. Brielle smiled. In the lobby of the conference center, she passed a glass wall and caught her reflection professional, composed and strong, her grandmother's leather bag at her side like armor, like history. And as she walked toward her lecture hall, she heard her father's words again. Remember who you are.